Oh, hello there. Well, looks like it's that time of year again. Christmas. Tradition's a big part of Christmas. We always like going back and watching the same movies, listening to the same songs, and playing certain levels in video games to give us that warm Christmas spirit. But are there entire video games that we could play that would give us that feeling? Not many, but one I love to go back to every year is Dead Rising.
I don't know why, but whenever there's snow outside, the Christmas decorations are up, and there's presents under the tree, it makes me want to pull out a tall glass of eggnog and play Dead Rising, a game in which you do this for 6 hours.
A holiday tradition.
I guess if you want to connect it to the holiday, you could say it's related to the commercialism associated with Christmas. But that's like saying that Dawn of the Dead is a Christmas film for the same reasons. I don't know why I play Dead Rising every year around the holidays, but really, it doesn't matter. Dead Rising is still one of the greatest games I've ever played. And keep in mind, I played Dead Rising 2 first. Usually the sequel's better, but nope. Dead Rising 1 outmatches 2 by a long shot. Dead Rising is a zombie game published by Capcom that isn't headlined by Shinji Mikami. You know, that guy that made the other survival horror series, Evil Within. Dead Rising was created by Keiji Inafune, Mr. Mega Man himself. He can't possibly make anything bad. Oh no. This was released right at the dawn of the HD era of gaming. Can you tell? Looks kinda like a smooth PS2 game, doesn't it? This was an Xbox 360 exclusive until it was released on the PS4 and Xbox One alongside its sequel and that sequel's thing? Spin-off? And I still firmly believe that the original game triumphs over all the sequels, even though almost all of them are really good. Almost. Let's start with the plot. To try and make the video more Christmassy, I'll try to do it in rhyme. Ahem. It was September 19th, and all through the town, many creatures were stirring, but there was no sound. First line and I'm already cheating. Frank West flies in via helicopter because of an anonymous tip. And no, this does not come back into the plot one bit. He gets an overview of the town thanks to the pilot, and it looked as if the citizens were causing a riot. Their tour, however, was cut down a bit early because the helicopter was attacked by the military. Frank, deciding that he needs the scoop, jumps all the way down to the mall's roof. Not before telling the pilot to return in 3 days. After he agrees, the two part ways. Frank soon finds that he is not alone, as a mysterious man makes his presence known. Carlito is his name, and he seems to be well, at least until he claims,
"This is hell."
After entering the mall alone, Frank sees the cause for distress. Zombies are the cause of this entire mess. The front door is barricaded, but not for long, because an old lady opened the door to save her dog. The zombies get in and cause certain doom, so Frank retreats to the security room. The door gets barricaded by the group inside, and then they... Alright, whatever, I'm done rhyming. The point is, there are zombies everywhere and you're stuck in a mall for 3 days. At this point in the story, the character Brad shows how to get back into the mall, and this is when the game really starts. You have 3 days to survive and figure out what the hell is going on. And I do mean you have 3 days to complete the game. Sort of like Majora's Mask type stuff, except without the time travel. 3 in-game days, of course. 1 in-game minute is about 5 real-time seconds. 10 in-game minutes is about 50 real-time seconds, and an in-game hour is about 5 real-time minutes. 1 in-game day is 2 real-time hours, so the game takes place over the course of about 6 hours. Time is a major factor in this game. Every in-game mission is represented by a scoop on the right side of the screen. Slowly, the time for each scoop will run out, so each scoop must be completed before the time runs out, because there's no way to retry a scoop if it expires. Not unless you reload a save. There are 2 tiers of scoops. First are the main cases that must be completed to get the game's true ending, and these usually have a lot more time to complete than the other scoops. And then there are the side scoops that you get from the janitor Otis. These almost always have to do with saving NPCs. Some of them do have some twists to them, but we'll get into that later. Yeah, saving all the NPC survivors in the mall is the secondary goal of the game. With a total of 49 survivors to save, you'll almost always be escorting at least one to the safe room. And one odd decision is that not every survivor is connected to a scoop. At certain times, some survivors will just show up. Sometimes they'll be in places that you'll naturally walk past. Other times, it'll be way out of the way. Without knowing these specific locations of the survivors, doing a complete survivor run can be very difficult. That and Yeah, the AI in this game is pretty bad. I don't know why they're like this, but the survivors love to either run in the worst direction possible when there are like 50 miles worth of better directions to go, or they'll just get in each other's way and halt all progress. I will argue though that the AI makes this game way more interesting and intense than the sequels. The AI gets fixed in the sequel, and honestly it makes it boring. You don't have to pay attention to them, they're usually just fine, you just gotta wait for them to catch up to you is all. In the first game, the AI is terrible, but that means you have to babysit each and every one so they don't walk into a group of hungry dead guys.
A holiday tradition.
So yeah, saving survivors and completing the main cases are your major goals in the game. But, in my opinion, that's not what makes the game structure stand out. Sometimes, be it during a main case or a side scoop, you'll come across a survivor who don't take too kindly the guy's name Frank. Psychopaths are the boss battles in the game, and they are so cool. Each psychopath has a unique design and character dynamic. They honestly feel more like bosses you'd find in No More Heroes, minus the philosophy.
These guys make you rethink how you go about the gameplay. 90% of the time you'll be up against oceans of meat walls. The other 10% will be up against these bosses that do more than just walk at you.
You have some absolute class acts, such as, but not limited to, Killer Clown, a cult leader, Big Fat Cop, the guy from Hatred in high school, and a Vietnam War veteran having a post-traumatic stress episode after witnessing his granddaughter being eaten alive by zombies. Each boss has unique attack patterns and can be extremely challenging when you encounter a new one. Unless you killed the clown.
A holiday tradition.
Yeah, Adam the Clown is a boss from the early game, and once you kill him, you can take his mini chainsaw, which is the best weapon in the main game. Get 3 books to make it last 3 lifetimes, and you can chop up any scarred war veterans you come across with ease. Did I really write that? The gameplay of Dead Rising is also really cool. Since it takes place in a mall, the game promotes you to use anything and everything you come across as a weapon. Tables, toys, appliances, pretty much whatever you can find. While it is cool to use anything as a weapon, once you find out where the actual useful weapons are, you usually just end up making detours to go get those. It makes the game easier that way, because after a while you kind of realize that potted plants aren't really going to work, but, you know, katana swords are, so, yeah. As Frank levels up, however, you gain all sorts of abilities to work with. So, you suck at the start, but by the max level of 50, you can kill zombies with your bare hands, which is really nice. While on the topic of Frank, I think he is such a good character. He's voiced by TJ Rollo, who also voiced William Birkin in the Resident Evil 2 remake and Kratos in Devil May Cry 4, so his voice stands out and makes Frank unique.
I'm Frank West, photojournalist. And right now, I'd rather have an explanation than your thanks, Brad. I'm not sure lucky is the word I'd use. I've covered wars, you know.
And I love how he's like a hot-headed character without talking too much. He's the type of cocky to be like, of course I can do this when he's asked to do something. He doesn't need to spout memes or one-liners all the time to be an entertaining character. Aha! The other supporting characters are fine too. Brad and Jesse, the Homeland Security officers, are cold to Frank but are genuinely concerned for each other, and it makes them likable. Makes you really want to see them make it out alive. Carlito is an okay villain too. Typical revenge story, but you can get why he would want to do something like a zombie outbreak. The only other part of the game I haven't mentioned is the different game modes. The 72-hour mode is the main story. Get the true ending of that, and you get the overtime mode, which is basically an epilogue chapter where you escape them all. Once you complete overtime mode, you unlock infinite mode. In infinite mode, you can freely roam the mall and kill till your heart's content. Bosses will show up occasionally, sometimes in not their areas, which I think is kinda cool, and any NPC you find will try and kill you. The catch here is that Frank's health will slowly go down. The only way to stop it is by killing zombies, but it'll only stop it for a few seconds. Food is scarce, and once you die, the run is over. No load saves here. This mode is so much fun. I've probably put more time into this mode than the main story. Other than just being fun, there are 2 goals people would want to shoot for while playing this mode. Some achievements have in-game rewards tied to them. Mostly cosmetic, but there are 2 weapon rewards. The Zombie Genocider achievement, achieved by killing 53,594 zombies in a single playthrough. This will give you a real Mega Buster to go alongside your Mega Man costume. The population of the town that Dead Rising takes place in is 53,594, hence the specific number, and the Mega Buster is literally the strongest thing in the game and is such a cool reward. Very worth doing. The other achievement is the 5-Day Survivor achievement. This is achieved by surviving in the mall for 5 in-game days. This takes about 10 real-life hours to do with no saves. I still have not done this. But you get the laser sword for doing it, which is actually the strongest weapon in the game. For how long it takes to get it, it better be worth it, Jesus Christ. So yeah, that's Dead Rising. Still the best in the whole series. Dead Rising 1 is like a toy built with Legos, and the sequels are built with Mega Bloks. Mega Bloks are okay, but they do not compare to Legos. Legos just click better. The sequels aren't bad though. Dead Rising 2 had more of a weird trilogy thing with the DLC prologue and epilogue parts, as well as a whole what-if type spin-off starring Frank. And Dead Rising 3 was really good too. It took a lot of liberties, but I think it still kept what made the series stand out at its core. Dead Rising 4 sucked. It took everything that made the series stand out and threw it away. No time constraints, Frank doesn't act like Frank, and no psychopaths. A complete disappointment. So the series is kinda dead right now, but if they were to bring it back in any sort of way, I have a few ideas of things they could do. One, a Switch release of at least Dead Rising 1 would be cool. Having that game on the go would be awesome. Some sort of release of Dead Rising 2 that includes the Case Zero and Case West parts, since those are still only available via Xbox Live Arcade. Maybe another release of Dead Rising 3 that comes with all the DLC. And hey, how about a Dead Rising 4 that isn't a whole pile of crap? Just call it Dead Rising 4 and act like the other one didn't happen. I'm serious, like, I'd take it. It'd be awesome. I think the most ironic thing about this video is that Dead Rising 4 does take place during the Christmas season, and Dead Rising 1 does not. But, you know, Dead Rising 4 is poo-poo, and Dead Rising 1 is great.
I realize that Dead Rising isn't really Christmas related at all, but here are a few games and levels that you could play this month because they're kinda holiday related.
Kingdom Hearts 2 has a whole level that takes place in Christmas Town. Saints Row 4, while not being the best Saints Row game, does have a whole Christmas DLC that is pretty fun. You got an abundance of snowboarding games, but you can play those all winter. Although Snowboard Kids 2 always gave me Christmas vibes, I don't know why. But get this, Yakuza 0, 1, and 2 all take place around Christmas. So there you go. There's a game series we can play every year around Christmas. Let's start a new tradition, people.
But no matter what you do this holiday season, make sure you're doing it with your loved ones and you're celebrating it to the fullest. It only comes once a year. Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.